you've got he who has the power wins.
Yeah.
So that's what happens in midterms. You change the power structure, and that goes away. We'll
Well,
see what happens.
Yeah.
All right.
We can hope. Okay. Anyway,
Good
have
enough.
a good day.
Yep.
Thank
You too.
Nice talking to
Thanks.
you. Bye.
All right, Errol, hang on. We'll get to you when we return here on the Art Lewis Show.
In the Great Lakes Bay region, you know just where to go.
Oh yeah, Covenant Healthcare.
But when you need to decide whether to go to emergency, urgent care, or your primary care provider,
Well, let me get back to you on that.
here's how to get the right care in the right place at Covenant. See your primary care doctor for ongoing non-urgent complaints like joint or muscle pain, digestive issues, mild headaches, etc. If it's after your doctor's office hours and your care can't wait, come to a MedExpress urgent care location. It's the perfect choice for ear infections, respiratory illness, sprains, stomach aches, and so on. Virtual urgent care and available. Finally, call 911 or go directly to emergency if you have heart attack or stroke symptoms or any severe injury. Still not sure? Call or text Covenant Care Connect at 989-583-3135 and we'll help you decide. Covenant Healthcare.
We're proud to make Pioneer Sugar for you and your family. Proud to be found in your kitchen, the heart of your home. And it doesn't really matter what you make with Pioneer Sugar, whether it's with our granulated white, light brown, or soft confectioners. It's the memories you'll make using it that will matter the most. Pure and all natural, made from sugar beets grown right here. What could be sweeter than that?
If you've ever ordered food for work, you understand. It's different. There's just so much more at stake. Whether it's a meeting, a client call, or lunch with the office that has to arrive at the actual lunchtime, food for work has to work. That's why there's Easy Cater. Food that's on time and as ordered from over 82,000 restaurants. And if there's a problem, rare, you can reach someone in seconds.
Thank you for calling Easy Cater.
Some food just doesn't work at work, but Easy Cater just does. Order 24/7 at easycater.com.
Research radio ads with repetition. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need, here's a repetitive ad. Okay. Research shows that people remember radio ads with repetition. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need, here's a repetitive ad. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty. The WSGW Morning Team Show.
So I want to play a little word association, if I may. If you are the Philadelphia Eagles football team and your head coach in the last 5 seasons has won your team a Super Bowl, 2 division titles, and 3 playoff spots, the word that you use for your football coach is?
Failure.
Exactly. That is failure. If you are in the Detroit Lions organization and you have a football coach that in 5 seasons had won your team a Super Bowl, 2 division titles, and 3
immortalized.
Yeah, very good. There you go. For those that didn't hear, Doug Peterson of the Eagles was canned.
What have you done for me lately?
Ford Field will be changed to the head coach's name.
They'd name a road after him. Maybe even one of the freeways.
Whoever the governor was, they would resign and appoint this person as governor of the state of Michigan.
The WSGW Morning Team Show. Weekdays 5:30 to 9 on WSGW.
All right, we're back with you on the Art Lewis Show. Back to our phones. Errol is in Saginaw. Errol, good morning to you.
You know, I thought I was at the tail end of a nightmare. Are we really going to put up with Hillary Clinton running again?
Well, you might not, but some people will.
Oh, okay. I've got a question for her before she says yes. Clinton did with all the money that was raised for Haiti. Remember the disaster we had over there?
Yeah.
Well, the Clinton Foundation took care of all the money that was taken in to help restore that place. I don't recall any of it ever being spent over there.
Well,
I'd like an answer to that question.
Yeah, I suspect it was spent. We just didn't hear about it because that was, that's like, realistically, Errol, that's like, for example, a tragedy in this country, we're all asked to donate, dial such and such, send a text and contribute $10. You do so in blind faith, believing that the organization is going to take that money and spend it for what it's intended. You never hear about it after the fact because they just go about their business. So I'm not going to, there are many other things to come down on the Clintons for. I'm going to leave that one out right now.
Not me.
Your privilege, my friend.
No, I have a good memory, okay? And I'd like someone to answer the question. Why hasn't someone from Haiti? But anyways, we'll leave that alone for a minute. How long have you been married?
55 years.
Oh, you're still on your honeymoon. I've been at it for 63 years.
Congratulations.
Okay?
How she put up with you, I don't know, but that's okay.
Well, in 63 years, I have never looked in her purse, and she has never looked in my wallet. Period.
Yes.
We've never had that.
Yes.
Period. Now, you know that my wife is a fanatical Michigan State fan. When a Michigan State function is on, the two cats retire to the other bedroom because she gets to be a wild woman. But we get along really good.
I would hope so.
Once every 2 days.
Yeah, you're right. All right.
I knew a couple that were both blind. You know what they fought over? Who was going to turn on the outdoor light at night?
Yeah.
That's what they thought about all the time.
All right.
Day, sir. Bye.
Have a good one, Errol. Bye now. All right, let's talk to Jane in Bay City. Jane, good morning.
Hi, this is Jean.
Oh, well, they wrote it wrong. Okay. Good morning, Jean.
Thank you for taking my call. And I have something food for thought for people. And at my age, if I get interrupted, I lose track of where I am in my little story. So if you wait till the end and give me your opinion, please. Okay?
Go ahead.
This is my personal observation. When people are born, they are born with two different outlooks on life. Now, the one is like conservative and always locks their car, always locks their garage, always locks up their house, even if they're going to be gone 5 minutes. And they're always on time for appointments. They're always early. And all that type of thing. People from birth, almost like robots. They have those traits, and they have no choice but to become Republicans. Then the other side, easygoing, never lock their cars, hardly ever lock their house during the day, always get to appointments at the last minute, or maybe they're a couple minutes late for their appointments. And they are so easygoing, and these people are almost programmed like robots from childhood. And they have to turn Democrat. Then there's this very small group of people that are a little bit conservative and a little bit liberal. And these people look at all the candidates, look at their moral character and so on, what they've done to do in the future. And this small group of people are the people that end up deciding our election.
All right, let me interrupt because I have to for time here, so I want to make sure I can answer you. First of all, Jean, I love you, dear. I'm going to totally disagree with you. Here's why. We are not born with those traits. They are learned. And no baby comes into the world. No baby comes into the world with a political thought in their mind, a conditioning. It is all learned behavior in the same way. In just a minute, Jean, just a minute now. And no baby comes into this world with a prejudiced notion in their mind. It is
No.
learned behavior. Secondly, just a minute, Gene. Secondly, the group you talk about in the middle as a small group, I believe to be the biggest group. I don't believe the extremes are the big groups. I believe most of us live in that middle you just described.
Well, my main thing is because I believe it's an outlook on life. I don't think people getting mad and angry and fighting about politics is a waste of time, because I don't think a Democrat is not going to change a Republican into a Democrat and vice versa.
True.
I truly believe people have these certain attitudes from birth, and that is what I believe.
Okay, well,
but all in all,
we're going to have to.
People have to stop all this arguing and fighting and having all this hate in their heart.
Yeah.
And they have to start compromising.
Yes, indeed. But again, I will leave you with this. In my opinion, it is all learned behavior. A baby doesn't come into the world understanding conservatism or democratic policy. Baby doesn't know any of that.
Look at your Republican friends. Every single one you can see always locks up their car, always locks up their garage.
Yeah, it's learned behavior, though. They didn't come into the world saying, I'm going to lock my car when I get old enough. It's learned behavior.
You cannot change that. You could not change. If you're a person that always leaves your car unlocked, you try and lock your car up all the time and see how difficult that is.
I'll tell you what happens in life, though, Gene. When something happens negative because you didn't lock your car up, you'd be surprised how fast you learn to lock your car up.
Absolutely.
I got to go, dear, because the old clock is ticking away here.
Think about it.
All right.
Thanks for taking my call. God
you
bless.
bet.
Bye-bye.
God bless. So long now. We'll be back with more. Scott, hang on. You'll be next.
Jerry Reif, and I have practiced law in mid-Michigan for over 3 decades. Many of you have attended my monthly workshops where you have learned about estate planning, asset protection planning, avoiding nursing home costs, and how to save the family farm. Would you like to understand more about these topics? I am offering 3 free e-booklets about estate planning, farm succession planning, and Medicaid planning.
To get your free e-booklet, go to jerryrifelawyer.com to download any or all of the e-booklets or call 989-790-1461 to request a copy.
My e-booklet, Understanding Medicaid, describes Medicaid, Medicare, and the difference between them. If estate planning is confusing to you, then get my e-booklet, Estate Planning. That it is a helpful guide for your future planning. If you have a farming operation and want to save it for future generations, then get my e-booklet, Estate Planning for Farmers.
If you want any of these free e-booklets, go to jerryrifelawyer.com or call 989-790-1461 to request your free copy.
This is important news. If you have unfiled tax returns, the IRS is shifting gears and ramping up investigations on non-filers this year. If you fail to file your tax returns for a year or more, or you owe back taxes, now's the time to call Optima Tax Relief before the Optima is America's #1 most trusted tax resolution firm, specialize in helping individuals, families, and businesses get right with the IRS. They're experts in the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, a powerful new program that can make resolving tax issues easier. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, Optima's award-winning team has helped thousands of people protect their paychecks, bank accounts, homes, and businesses by putting their tax problems to rest, resolving over $1 billion in tax debts for their clients. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-364-9188. 800-364-9188. 800-364-9188.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Plus.com. This week's deal on RocketGrabPlus.com is for Wonderburger. You are going to get a $13 gift certificate for only $6.50, half off. Wonderburger is the perfect spot to get burgers on the go, and they grind their own beef daily. They're also the official burger of CMU football. You can also check them out on Facebook for their daily menu items and their location schedule. Head to RocketGrabPlus.com right now to snag your deal.
RocketGrabPlus.com.
News coverage.
This virus is not going to rest.
Around the clock.
The Omicron surge, numbers spiking back up across the country, and it continues to evolve. Vaccine mandates.
How the Supreme Court will rule
on testing. The federal government has promised millions of tests. I don't know when that's coming.
News.
Build Back Better is utterly reckless.
Pay their fair share.
News.
December jobs report.
199,000, another big miss here.
News coverage on WSGW.
All right, we're back with you here on the Art Lewis Show, and back to our phones. Scott is in Saginaw. Scott, good morning.
Hey, morning, Art. Hey, I'm going to continue kind of here on the hypocrisy of the left with Joe Biden, and I'm going to bring an argument forward. I don't agree, but the argument is from Joe Biden. He is my source. And so yesterday he was in Georgia, and he's making comments about voter ID rules. And one of the comments he says is that the Republicans want ID to vote. He says that is racist. I don't know why it's racist. Joe Biden just says it is. But now with the COVID mandate for the vaccine, you have to have your ID to get the vaccine. So now, and Joe Biden also said about that, if you don't get the shot, you're going to die. So my question is, if Republicans ask for ID for voting, and that's racism, what is this if Joe Biden's giving vaccines?
I hear you.
I know
I'll give you the argument in a different way, too, about the voting rights thing. He's standing in Georgia where they passed a law which actually didn't make it harder to vote. It actually ensures the vote. His state of Delaware has much tougher rules, much tougher voting rights. But he never says anything about that. You never hear a word about that. So I listen. This notion of, for example, getting rid of the filibuster, I think that he's up against a brick wall because Manchin has already said he doesn't favor it. Kristen Sinema, she doesn't favor it. Without them, he can't get it done, period. So I think, right now, I think it's a lot of smoke.
It is, but he's doing a lot of damage by dividing the country. I mean, he's making some very decisive statements about people, this president is, and he's really putting people on either line. And the last caller, I feel bad for her because she thinks people are in a group like that. That's too bad.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and Scott, you may disagree with this totally, and that's fine. But Trump didn't do it any differently. He said a lot of divisive things that spread people apart. The only difference is I liked his policies a lot better. But you have to give the fact that it's the nature of the beast anymore, unfortunately.
Things that Trump was saying, a lot of it was true. They say it was divisive because he was saying that the Democrats want to bring socialism in. Well, that caused.
That's not what I'm.
Biden is causing racism.
Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about, though. I'm talking about the way Trump said things, and you got to be realistic about it. He had a mouth that wouldn't quit, and still does, because I get his emails constantly. I mean, I get the pack emails from the Trump people. If I get 10 emails, 5 of them are from the Trump organization, and a lot of it has the same stuff in it. And that's politics. That's why I don't vote on that. I vote on the policies of the person, because if you voted on everybody's mouth or their outlook or what have you, we wouldn't have anybody running.
Well, I agree. I mean, Donald Trump might have ran the line on a lot of things he says, but with Joe Biden, we see that he is clearly lying about stuff, and there's a difference.
All right.
So that's.
I'm going to leave it there.
I'll let it go. All right.
I got to leave it there because I got to get Paul. Nope, Paul dropped. All right. We'll talk again, Scott. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
All right. Yeah, listen, this is the divisive nature of the world we live in right now in terms of the United States and its politics, and it's unfortunate. But the reason, for example, all this negativity happens, the same reason negative political advertising happens. It works. It apparently sways people. That's the unfortunate part. All right. We're going to take a last break, come back and close out this hour, and then we'll be back with another open line hour after the news.
With this week's Spirit in 60, I'm Joey Vitano. Saginaw Spirit hope to return to the ice on Thursday night when they take on the London Knights for the first time this season, and welcome back Captain Cameron Baber, who plays in his first game against his former team with the Knights. Tickets for Thursday night's game are on sale at SaginawSpirit.com. The Spirit hit the road Friday at Budweiser Gardens, taking on the London Knights in the back end of their home-and-home series. Night to the Dow, taking on the Windsor Spitfires for Love Shouldn't Hurt Night, presented by the Bay Area Women's Shelter and Shelter House. For fundraiser tickets, log on to SaginawSpirit.net/group sales using the group ID Love Shouldn't Hurt and the password Spirit2022. You can purchase discounted fundraiser tickets with $5 going back to the Bay Area Women's Shelter. For more information, log on to SaginawSpirit.com or call us at our store at 497-7747. With this week's Spirit in 60, I'm Joey Patano.
That dinner was delicious. What's next?
I'm thinking just the check.
Do you frequently have gas, bloating, diarrhea, stomach pain, or loose oily stools after eating? One or more of these symptoms could be a sign of exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, and it may be time to talk to your doctor.
If you have EPI, Creon may be right for you. Creon, pancrelipase, is an oral prescription medication that treats EPI. Creon replaces enzymes you may be missing to help you break down food properly.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Do not chew capsules or contents, as this may cause mouth irritation. Tell your doctor if you have unusual or severe stomach pain, bloating, trouble passing stool, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, worsening of painful swollen joints, or allergic reactions. Other side effects may include changes in blood sugars, gas, dizziness, or sore throat and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Talk to your doctor about Creon, the #1 prescribed EPI treatment, and visit gocreon.com. That's GOCREON.com, or call 1-800-633-9110.
And now an important message from Exergen. A critical new FDA study proves that non-contact accurate. They also have inaccurate information on their labels regarding accuracy. New COVID strains are on the rise, and non-contact manufacturers are being irresponsible at a time when accuracy matters. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. Switch to Exergen because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Millions of people use Zoom Phone, the innovative and feature-rich cloud phone system for businesses of any size. Zoom Phone is simple to use, whether you're on a mobile device, desktop, laptop, or desk phone. And because every call is important to your business, Zoom Phone was built with reliability in mind, using geographic redundancy to keep your communications online. Empower your workforce with Zoom Phone. Visit zoom.com/phone system. Zoom, how the world connects.
All right, that'll do it for this first hour of the Art Lewis Show. We're going to head up to the top of the hour with news from CBS. They'll bring you up to date on the world and the nation. And then we'll have the local report. That'll bring you up to date on the Great Lakes Bay region and the state of Michigan. And when we return after the news, it will be open phones right through 11 o'clock. So join us right after the news, which is next.
From the Premier Kitchen and Bath Gallery Showroom and Design Center Studios.
This is WSGW, Saginaw, Bay City, Midland, WSGW-FM, Carlton.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Indeed.com.
You weren't dreaming it. Just about everything costs a fortune now, and it's driven inflation to its highest level in 39 years. CBS's Sarah Ewell Weiss.
Prices rose 7% over the last year. The cost of everything from food to energy to clothing, housing, and travel was up in the United States as it continues to move out of the coronavirus pandemic. The cost of gas is up nearly 50%, but did start to come down in December. The cost of used cars and trucks was up 37% over the course of the past year.
From court in New York this past hour, group has lost out on a bid to have his civil sex assault case Lewis Kaplan ruling that Virginia Giuffre's civil sexual assault case against the Queen's second son can proceed.
Andrew's got no good options now.
Media lawyer Mark Stevens.
I think he's either going to have to engage in the trial process or he's going to have to settle.
Stevens says settling out of court, likely for millions, could be Prince Andrew's least bad option. Vicki Barker, CBS News, London. Another high-profile Brit is having a rough day. Prime Minister Boris Johnson has apologized to Parliament for partying on the lawn at 10 Downing Street during COVID.
We simply did not get right. And I must take responsibility.
Some lawmakers are calling for Johnson's resignation. Kids in Chicago are heading back to school today for the first time since an agreement between teachers and the city on better COVID safety protocols. The Biden administration wants to help districts across the country stay open. It's sending them 10 million additional free COVID tests a month, doubling current testing capacity. Education Secretary Miguel Cardona tells CBS Mornings.
We're not requiring tests for everyone to come back in every day. I don't think that's a sustainable model. What we need to do is follow the mitigation strategies that possible, increase the number of students and staff that are vaccinated.
Some people are paying exorbitant prices to get tested at private labs. This man from Montreal says he has had no choice.
I travel a lot, so every time I have to get tested 3 times for each trip. So just the prices of the test is usually more than my plane ticket.
One lab in Las Vegas charges $249 for a PCR test. Americans are reading less these days. Here's CBS's Monica Ricks.
Libraries and bookstores blame the pandemic for the overall decline since they were forced to close for a while. But the option to order books online was still available. So researchers believe people just found other ways to entertain themselves.
Dow up 168. This.
Looking for quality candidates this new year? Look no further than Indeed. Our new video interview tool takes the hassle out of virtual hiring. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Do you promise to love, honor, and cherish, forsaking all others?
I do.
I do.
And now, by the power vested in me, I now pronounce you roommates. Go forth.
That's not the vow you took. But if struggles with CPAP have you and your spouse sleeping in separate rooms, it might be time to look into Inspire. Inspire works inside the body with just the click of a remote. That's right, just a button. No mask, no hose, just sleep. Inspire. Sleep apnea innovation.
Talk to your doctor to see if Inspire. The information at inspiresleep.com.
Getting your guaranteed maximum refund with TaxSlayer feels like discovering a refund tree has grown in your backyard.
I'm the refund tree.
Sawing off its branches.
Hey.
Feeding them through a wood chipper.
My branches! My beautiful branches!
And dancing in its refund rain. Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
This whole wall needs to be shelving too. This is a focal point in our restaurant.
Leilani's new restaurant will have the largest wine cellar in the city. Sommelier with notes of procurement manager.
3 sections for France. I mean, this is the biggest.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Exergen would like you to know about an important study just released by the FDA. It confirms what the medical community has known all along. Non-contact thermometers are not accurate. The study also reports that they fail to meet FDA requirements for accuracy in labeling. We can't afford to tolerate the rampant false temperature thermometers. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. You need Exergen thermometers because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Live from the 100.5 and 790 newsroom, this is WSGW News.
33 degrees at 10:05. Good morning. I'm Ann Williams. The massive surge in Omicron cases is putting pressure on hospitals across Michigan and the country, despite Omicron generally causes milder illness than previous variants, especially among the vaccinated and boosted.
In this current COVID surge, we are experiencing the highest number of COVID-positive admissions to the hospital and the pediatric ICU since the beginning of the pandemic.
That's Michigan's Chief Medical Executive, Dr. Natalie Bagdasarian. She says More than 1/5 of hospital beds in the state are filled with COVID-positive patients, but some of them may be in treatment for other reasons and test positive for a mild or asymptomatic case of the virus while at the hospital. The 19 trying to stab a younger relative in a Bay City Central bathroom has been released from jail without any charges. WSGW's Rick Antonio has more.
The fight between the second cousins left the 16-year-old with slash wounds on the face and other wounds caused while trying to protect himself. School staff broke up the fight, and an in-building resource officer took the 19-year-old into custody without further incident. He was later lodged in the Bay County Jail, but was released without charges the following day on instruction from the Bay County Prosecutor's Office. The incident is still under investigation and is said to have stemmed from a prior issue between the two. Superintendent Dr. Stephen Bigelow says while the county may not be seeking further disciplinary action, the district will be. Rick Antonio, News Radio 100.
There are new allegations regarding what school officials knew in the days leading up to the Oxford High School shooting. A federal lawsuit brought by a group of students and Jeffrey Feiger's law firm has been revised to include new information about the alleged shooter, Ethan Crumbley. It says that Crumbley brought bullets to class the day before the shooting and that he wasn't just researching ammunition on his phone like school officials have said. It also alleges that Crumbley left a bird's head in a jar in a school bathroom. Feiger's lawsuit claims that school officials were aware of all of the warning signs with Crumbley, including threats made on social media weeks prior to the shooting. Criminal charges, including terrorism and murder, he has pleaded not guilty. WSGW News Time is 10:07.
That dinner was delicious. What's next?
I'm thinking just the check.
Do you frequently have gas, bloating, diarrhea, stomach pain, or loose oily stools after eating? One or more of these symptoms could be a sign of exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, and it may be time to talk to your doctor.
If you have EPI, Creon may be right for you. Creon, pancrelipase, is an oral prescription medication that treats EPI. Creon replaces enzymes you may be missing to help you break down food properly.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy. Not chew capsules or contents, as this may cause mouth irritation. Tell your doctor if you have unusual or severe stomach pain, bloating, trouble passing stool, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, worsening of painful swollen joints, or allergic reactions. Other side effects may include changes in blood sugars, gas, dizziness, or sore throat and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Talk to your doctor about Creon, the #1 prescribed EPI treatment, and visit gocreon.com. That's GOCREON.com, or call 1-800-633-9110.
WSGW News Time is 10:08. General Motors is beefing up its used car business with a new offering that it calls Car Bravo. It will compete against dealers like Carvana and CarMax and a similar program from Ford. GM North America President Steve Carlisle says used cars are a big part of their dealers' business.
Approximately 70% of vehicles that are sold today are used. That's 2.3
Glad to have you with us on this Wednesday morning here on WSGW. Open lines this hour. The numbers from Saginaw, Bay City, 989-752-6111. And the toll-free number from inside the state of Michigan, 866-790-WSGW. Outside the state of Michigan, use the 989 number. All right. And Paul, who didn't get on the last hour, is with us to start us out this hour. So Paul in Saginaw, good morning.
Morning, Art. Art, I got a couple observations. I noticed that only one local, on Antenna TV, only one local Flint station has a daily 6 p.m. sports segment where the other two local stations do not. Did you notice that too?
Yeah, sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. Depends what goes on.
Is it an advertising problem, or
No.
is it just too much competition from cable?
No, it's neither. It's just how they allocate their time. On the days when there's sports worth talking about, particularly toward the weekends, they all have sportscasts. Other times they don't. So it's,
Right.
I mean, it's a decision made by each individual entity. They just make that decision based on what's best, what they believe is best for them. That's all.
Okay.
Nothing nefarious about it.
The other observation is I heard they had a meeting yesterday in Saginaw about naming the new high school that's going to be built over there by the river. And I have a name, but maybe you even have a name. Since the new high school is going to be built over there at the old Jackrabbit Bean Elevator site by the river, I thought about calling the new high school the Saginaw United Jackrabbits. What do you think of that?
Actually, the Saginaw United part I liked, and I've always thought that would be a good name. The Jackrabbit idea as a Jackrabbit mascot is appealing. And if they did that, they might then find use for that sign. I like it.
Right. You could have a jackrabbit on a helmet too.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you could, I mean, that's not a bad idea. I like it.
Yeah.
Kind of nice.
Have
Send it
you
to the
got a
school
name
board.
for 'em?
Well, yeah, I had been saying Saginaw United for a long time.
Okay.
But the Jackrabbit part is interesting. I like that.
Well,
all right.
Okay.
Good enough.
That's all I had.
Good,
All
Paul.
right.
Thanks.
a lot.
Bye-bye now.
Okay.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting because the new school representing the two old schools, Arthur Hill and Saginaw High, unites the school district. And I always thought Saginaw United was kind of a neat name for a school. Maybe you got some thoughts on it. What would you call the new Saginaw High School that represents the entire city? And what do you think about Paul's idea of having a jackrabbit as the as the mascot, the team mascot, if you will? I like that. That's different. I want to go back to the discussion about Hillary and Trump running for president. Now, this is just my opinion and nothing else. While for folks like me that make a certain amount of my living talking about politics, it would be the epitome, let's face it. Hillary running against Trump. What else could a talk show host ask for? But as a citizen of the country who treasures this nation, what it stands for, the freedoms we have, I would not like to see it. And I'll tell you why. We are already too divided. We don't do enough crossing the aisles to talk about issues and finding solutions. There is nothing either of them would bring to the table to lessen that. To me, Hillary and Donald, Clinton and Trump, another face-off, would simply drive further wedges in our country. I would like to see new blood. I think it's time. I would like to see new folks come forward, present their cases, and run for the highest office in the land. But I'm not sure that's what's going to happen. You got the operatives in the Democratic Party saying Hillary's their best chance to win. And you have Donald Trump making all kinds of noises like he's going to do it again. Right now, anyway, I don't hold out a lot of hope. Now, it's still 2.5 years away. We have the midterms to take care of first. But the midterms, I think, are going to be overshadowed by announcements from potential candidates coming forward on both sides. I think, for the first time in a long time, there may be two large primary debate stages. You know the Republicans could come out of the woodwork. And there were, what, 17 of them the last time against Donald Trump? And when Biden ran, there were like 22 in the beginning. But usually not at the same time. I think in this next election, we are liable to see big debate stages from both sides of the aisle. And I don't find anything wrong with that. I like that idea. Maybe we'll get some new blood. Now, obviously, it's in the hands of Joe Biden on the Democratic side. Because if he forcefully runs again and says, I'm going to run again, and does it, that locks everybody else out. They're not going to go against him. The Republican field, if Trump does that, there are going to be a certain number of Republican candidates who will not run against him. But there may be some new ones that come out of the woodwork that will. Going to be an interesting time. It's going to be a very, very interesting time. Let's see. Is Dale on the line? Dale in Bay City, are you there? Nope, not on the line, but he wants to look at DeSantis from Florida running for the office. Well, excuse me. I think that's a possibility that DeSantis will run for the office. I think he's positioning himself to do that. So we'll have to wait and see. All right, we're going to take a break, come back, and more calls. It's open phones right through 11 o'clock.
Beat the winter blues and get away from the cold. How far away is up to you. Let Capoco Community Credit Union help you get where you want to go with a vacation loan. See a Capoco Community officer today and ask how they can help. Whether it's to a tropical island or just any place with palm trees, a vacation is easy with Capocco Community Credit Union. Find out more at capocco.org. Member NCUA.
What's all the buzz about nasal irrigation and Navage? And should I try it? Here's the science. Airborne germs invade through your nose. It's the body's air filter for trapping allergens and viruses. When your nose gets clogged, it's less effective and germs multiply. Eventually, your immune system can get overwhelmed and you get sick. Nasal irrigation is an effective, all-natural way to clean your nose. It's not a drug. It's more like plumbing. Saline goes in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, flushing out mucus and germs. I'm Martin Hoke, and I invented Navage to make cleaning your nose easy. It's the world's only nose cleaner with powered suction. Navage pulls out the bad stuff so sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier. At Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, Bed Bath, and Walmart. Or go to Navage.com for a free gift with purchase. Over 2 million sold. Navage, Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
I'm Lauren Simonetti, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Consumers feeling the pain as inflation continues to jump, surging 7% in December from a year earlier. That is the 4 decades. By category,
food, a year-over-year jump. It's very hot, 6.3%. Huge jump in energy commodities and gasoline. 50% jump for gasoline prices. Utilities, year-over-year, a gain of 24%.
Cheryl Casoni with the Fox Business Network. Volkswagen says deliveries dropped 4.5% last year, but delivery of fully electric vehicles increased 96% compared with the year before. And Morgan Stanley is raising its annual bonus for top-performing staff by more than 20%. Reuters says the bonuses reflect strong business at the Wall Street firm. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Lillian Wu, invested in you.
Puerto Rico is the new go-to destination for investment opportunities, and Impeller is the new online tool that connects investors with innovative projects seeking capital on the island. Impeller in Puerto Rico, surfacing the insights you need to make informed decisions and empower your investment portfolio. Visit investpr.org/impeller and set up your account today to see what the island has to offer. Impeller, your hub for investment opportunities in Puerto Rico. Powered by Invest Puerto Rico.
Struggling with DAP? Now there's Inspire, the only FDA-approved obstructive sleep apnea treatment that works inside the body to treat the root cause of sleep apnea with just the click of a button. No mask, no hose, just sleep. Visit InspireSleep.com to learn more.
The WSGW
Detroit restaurant just closed abruptly. Michael Simon's Roast Restaurant in the Weston Book Cadillac closed. Highly rated. Number one in Detroit. Did I mention, by the way, the cheapest steak was about $100?
Well, that should have
You're
having some impact. Yeah. That's the circle of friends apart. Yeah, exactly.
He's not taking me there.
Dave and Pat and Shirley, we're over at
Never been
McDonald's.
there.
We're at
Never been there. I've never been there either.
No.
I've never been there either.
But you know people who have been there.
Yes, that I do. The other reason is you would never spend $100 on a steak. So.
50, maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
100, I don't think so, yeah.
So does that include the sides or?
No, of course not.
At least the pack come with an Iron City beer next to it. Then maybe it's worth $100.
The Morning Team Show, weekdays 5:30 to 9 on 100.5 and 790 News Radio WSGW.
All right, we're back with you here on WSGW, Art Lewis Show. Just a couple more comments about the possibility of Hillary running, and here's why they're saying it. This was an article, it was a commentary actually I'm trying to think of where it was from. I don't know. I know who wrote it, but I don't know where it was from. But anyway, basically what they're saying is that because of Biden's low approval ratings, doubts over his capacity to run at 82 years old, Kamala Harris's unpopularity, and the absence of another strong Democratic candidate, she is in a position to fill a leadership vacuum in the party. And there is something else about her that they are saying. She would move the party away from the far left. She's already spoken out against the progressives running the party. And much like her husband, who moved to be a centrist, she too would probably be more to the middle. Now, don't misunderstand anything I'm saying as to meaning that I would support her. I would not. That's me. That's me personally, though. And I don't know who I would support depending who runs against her, if she were to run. But I would hope, as I said earlier, that neither she nor Donald Trump run and we get some new blood. That's just my personal opinion. That's all I ever offer you. It's based on my gut feelings and nothing else. Anyhow, with that said and done, a couple of other things in the news. First of all, President Biden yesterday in Georgia wanting a new voting rights package and now agreeing, in order to get his way, to sidestep the filibuster, which never in his entire career did he want to do, even when he was in the Senate. But it is interesting how both parties have used the nuclear option or getting rid of the filibuster when they can't get their own way through the normal democratic process. Now, yes, the Senate has restrictive rules that they don't have in the House. In the House, when it comes to a vote, it's a simple majority. The Senate has had a filibuster rule forever. And it requires at least 60 votes to get anything done, with the exception of those items that are allowed to go through the reconciliation process, which we saw last year with the stimulus packages, ARPA, things like that, because those budgetary packages where they're spending money within certain limits can be put through the reconciliation project, which only requires a simple majority. I keep saying process. And that's exactly what they have in the Senate, a simple majority. Not in the senators, but in the vice president, because it's a 50-50 split, Democrats and Republicans. The vice president gets a tie-breaking vote, so that favors the Democrats, obviously. So the Democrats have a simple majority in the Senate. I don't like the idea of changing the rules just so you can play the game your way. I think at some point in time they have to decide, is the filibuster a worthy rule in the Senate? If not, you get rid of it altogether, or you use it without exception. And that's my personal opinion. Chris is in Midland. Chris, good morning.
Hi, you just stole my thunder.
Oh, okay, go ahead and thunder again.
The filibuster, something stuck in my mind. I think Harry Reid invoked the nuclear option
Yep.
Because the Democrats wanted to do something. I can't remember any specific example. I'm sorry, but you're right. Both sides use it or fight against it when it's useful for them. Oh shucks, something else just escaped my mind. I apologize. Oh shoot, lost my train of thought. Well, I'll just leave it at that.
Fair enough, but that's it's been used by both sides. It's been abused by both sides.
Yeah.
And
Abused,
yeah. So I think maybe it's time they take a look at it as an issue, period, and decide whether they want to keep it or not, and then live by it.
Right. Get rid of it altogether, so it's not, a usable tool either way. I mean, or
one way or another.
Go along with that.
All right, good enough.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for calling, Chris. Appreciate it. Bye-bye now. Let's talk to Bill in Cass City. Bill, good morning.
Good morning, Art. It's good to hear your voice again.
Thank you, sir.
One thing that I find interesting right now is everybody's worried about these midterm elections coming up. But I think that the Democrats right now have dug a hole, and I don't know that they can come back out of it because of one group of people that have not got a stimulus check one way or the other. And it makes me laugh because it's one of the biggest voting blocks there is. And right now they're saying, well, because the seniors got a cost of living, they call it an insult, but anyway, we're not going to give them, they're not entitled to a stimulus check any way, shape, or form. Whether you believe in stimulus checks or not, if you're going to give them out, you give them out. You don't just pick and choose who you're going to do this to. And I think this is going to cost them an election because that group of people just been overlooked. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, my thoughts on it, I think that it wasn't done right in the first place. I think the people that really needed it should have gotten it. But couples making $150,000 a year, come on. Do they really need the stimulus? Did they really need the stimulus? Did I need the stimulus? Did other folks in that same category need it? I don't think so. I think the package could have been a lot smaller and made impact where it needed to make impact. I think they waste a lot of money and have wasted a lot of money in Washington over the last couple of years. The pandemic, it became an excuse to do whatever you wanted, whenever you wanted. And I was not a big fan.
Well, and I agree with you 100%, Art, because when it comes to good common sense in Washington, D.C., I don't think the two ever go together, other than they use the same letters in the alphabet, and it doesn't, whether it's a Democrat or Republican, they don't have any sense.
Yeah, that's why I have said all along.
Reelected, you better include everybody, because now if you have people that are having children, now they've even went to, I want, because, well, if you have an adopted child, well, I am an adopted child, so I should count. But it's not the way it works.
Well.
My wife wanted to swat me in the head. But, they're buying votes. Well, they just kind of left out the ones that's probably the biggest voting bloc in the world right now.
Yep. Yeah, well, if they do, they'll pay for it. If they do,
well,
if they leave it out, they will pay for it.
It's when we got this big raise, again, it's like usual. Everything else went up, but our wages.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Fair enough, Bill. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. Thanks. Have a good one. Bye-bye now. We'll be back. Lines open for you here on the Art Lewis Show.
Get huge savings with fuel rewards every time you fill up at one of your 26 area Forward Shell convenience stores. Get at least 5 cents off a gallon every single fill up and earn even more when you make purchases in store. You can regularly save 10, 20, which means less money goes into your tank and more stays into your wallet. Visit fuelrewards.com to sign up and start saving today. That's Fuel Rewards at your area Forward Shell convenience stores. And remember, when you want to pay less at the pub, go forward.
RocketGrabPlus.com. The days of paying full price are over. And at RocketGrabPlus.com, we are here always giving you the deals that you need. You can get tons of half-off deals going on right now from Uplift Creative Center, Joyce's Purple Palettes, Woody's Hot Dogs, King's Fish and More, and the Hamptons Boutique Tanning and Salon. Half off? Yeah, it's true. And it's all at rocketgrabplus.com.
RocketGrabPlus.com.
Have you been considering a virtual education for your child? Bangor Township Virtual Schools offers an alternative learning environment for your child. Since 2015, Bangor Township Virtual School has provided hundreds of students K through 12th grade in high quality and accredited public education. The School of Choice window is open January 7th through January 21st. For more information or enrolling your child, go to bangorschools.org. Bangor Township Virtual Schools, the virtual education experts.
We're still facing COVID-19, and now it's flu season. Why not face them together? You can get your COVID-19 vaccine and your flu vaccine at the same time. Just ask your doctor. You'll save time and you could save lives. People 65 and older and those with underlying health conditions are especially at risk. Let's face COVID-19 and the flu together, Michigan. Get vaccinated. Learn more at michigan.gov/flu. Sponsored by the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services and the Michigan Association of Broadcasters.
You may be into punk rock, soft rock, or classic rock, R&B, hip hop, or house, country, techno, or techno country. But no matter what kind of music you listen to, here's something else you should hear. Please consider getting vaccinated. Talk to your pharmacist today about Comirnaty, COVID-19 vaccine mRNA. This message brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
All right, we're back. You had a interesting email from a listener who said, well, gee, you know, Barack Obama's been out of office now for some time. Could he not run again? No, can't do that. 2 terms and you're done. Doesn't matter whether they're consecutive or separate. You only get 2 terms. And that's come about after the amendment after FDR, of course. So Barack Obama can speak all he wants, support who he wants, endorses who he wants, but he cannot hold the office ever again. That's true of any president. George W. Bush, same thing. Any president who's held 2 terms is done. So, nope, you won't see Mr. Obama. You'll see him, I think, on the campaign trail. For sure. I think he will make his presence well known on the campaign trail. And he will eventually endorse a candidate. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind. And I suspect if Hillary were to run again, she would probably get his support. That's just, a guess on my part. But I believe that he won't sit in the wings. And there's always been the question, and she vehemently denies it, that Michelle Obama might have an interest in running. Now, she could be president. He could be the first man, so to speak. But he can't hold the office. But he certainly could live in the White House with his wife if she held the office. And maybe that would be another way for him to get back in office without legally getting back in office. I don't know. Good news for you auto fans. The Detroit Auto Show has announced it will return to Detroit this September. And it will have inside and outside attractions from the riverfront to parks throughout downtown and, of course, at the Huntington Place Convention Center, the former Cobo Hall. So I don't know about you, but I didn't go the last several years. It comes back this year. I'm going down. The North American International Auto Show took place for decades. It was in January, of course. But now they are going to move it to September, which makes sense because they can do things outside. And it's a very ambitious plan. They're going to have attractions all along the Detroit riverfront and the parks, plus all of the displays inside. And it will definitely be a destination event. And I think I am be safe in predicting that it'll be overloaded with electric vehicles. What do you think? I think there's very little doubt that it's going to be absolutely loaded with electric vehicles. But here's the next headline to put with that. A teenage hacker claims the ability to control 25 Teslas worldwide. He says he has taken control of Teslas in 13 countries. He discovered what he says is a software flaw in the company's systems. His name is David Colombo, and he calls himself an IT specialist. The software flaw, he says, allows him to unlock doors and windows, start the cars without keys, and disable their security systems. Says he can see if a driver is present in the car. He can turn on the vehicle's stereo sound system, flash its headlights. Wow. He did not give the exact details of the software vulnerability, but he said it was not within Tesla's software or infrastructure, and added only a small number of Tesla owners globally were affected. But that opens up the question. If he can do that to those 25 cars in 13 countries, how many other electric vehicles that are going to be more and more software dependent will be susceptible to hack? And what could the hacker do to someone who's driving in those cars? That's a scary question. As we become more and more dependent on computers in our lives for everything, we just become more and more vulnerable to a hack. And I say that sitting here in my home, where right now I'm surrounded by 4 computers and 5 screens. On my big computer, I have a split screen. Everything I do right now is dependent on these computer systems and on the internet and Wi-Fi, because that's how I broadcast from home, using Wi-Fi. Vulnerable? Yep. Protected? Yes. All kinds of protections. The company has gone the extra mile in providing IT preventatives and things of that nature. But still, nothing is foolproof. Nothing is foolproof. Now, it's one thing to be sitting at home and getting hacked. It's quite another to be driving your car and get hacked. So I hope the companies involved with their software products come up with solutions that protect the driver against this kind of intrusion by outsiders while you're driving your car. Wow. All right, let's pause, and then we will return with more here on the Art Lewis Show. Lines are open for you if you got some thoughts for us.
Do you promise to love, honor, and cherish, forsaking all others?
I do.
I do.
And now, by the power vested in me, I now pronounce you roommates. Go forth.
That's not the vow you took. But if struggles with CPAP have you in your rooms, it might be time to look into Inspire. Inspire works inside the body with just the click of a remote. That's right, just a button. No mask, no hose, just sleep. Inspire. Sleep apnea innovation.
Talk to your doctor to see if Inspire is right for you. Review important safety information at inspiresleep.com.
Research shows that people remember radio ads with repetition. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need, here's a repetitive ad. Okay. Research shows that people remember radio ads with repetition. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need, here's a repetitive ad. For what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Yes, Miss Tubbs. No problem. I'll call someone about the plumbing.
One of Beatrice's properties needs a new superintendent.
The custodial team is not...
Someone with handyman superpowers and a concierge alter ego.
Does anyone know any good electricians near Parkville?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Matt Crowder live at the Shell station on 41st Street reporting Get Upside. That's letting people all over the country earn cash back on every gallon of gas they buy. Excuse me, miss. Have you heard of the Get Upside gas app?
Of course. People are earning as much as $300 a year with the Get Upside app. It's so easy. Open the app to see nearby gas stations offering money back, pick the one you want, and get up to 25 cents a gallon cash back every time you buy gas.
Wow. Well, there you have it. Stop paying full price for gas. Download the free Get Upside gas app and earn up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. This is Matt Crowder, Radio News Network.
Download the free Get Upside app now to earn up to 25 cents a gallon cash back when you buy gas. Use promo code TODAY for a 50 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 75 cents a gallon on your next fill up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Get up to 75 cents a gallon cash back on your next fill up when you download the free Get Upside app and use promo code TODAY. Promo code TODAY.
Now, a WSGW Morning Team Show memorable moment.
All right, a little political pick-on time. So let's play a game. The game is called, What If Sarah Palin Had Said That? I promise you that if Sarah Palin had said what we're going to play for you now, she may have moved Egypt off the front covers. Senator Chuck Schumer out of New York, who is discussing what the Republicans want to do when it comes to the budget gets to a point in the conversation and then makes a reference to how our government is set up in three branches.
So I would urge my Republican colleagues, no matter how strongly they feel, we have three branches of government. We have a House, we have a Senate, we have a president, and all three of us are going to have to come together and give some.
We have a House, we have a Senate, and we have a president. Help me out here. And we've got a legislative, we have a judicial, and I think it's called the executive.
Yes, you've got it.
I've got it?
Yeah.
I can be a senator.
You can beat that one.
The Morning Team, weekdays 5:30 to 9 on WSGW. The Saginaw Spirit play here.
Wong out of the box. Nick Wong moving in right circle.
In for Saginaw Spirit Hockey. The Spirit return to the ice on Thursday night to face off against the London Knights at the Dow Event Center. Coverage begins at 6:50 p.m. on 100.5 News Radio WSGW. Great seats are still available. Visit SaginawSpirit.com for ticket information.
Saginaw Spirit Hockey is on WSGW.
On the next Markley Van Camp and Robin Show.
New insane talking point. Voting rights are no better than they were before the Civil War.
What?
Do I still have to wear a mask when I vote?
Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. Weekdays at noon on 100.5 and 790. UW.
All right, we're back with you here on WSGW. Art Lewis Show. Coming up, by the way, on Focus, we'll focus on McLaren Bay Region today with Dr. Vanessa Rondinelli. She is an OBGYN doc, and that will happen right after the 11 o'clock news. Here is something which offered me absolutely no surprise. This is one of those, gee, did somebody have to go to school to learn this? Sports betting headed for a record month. And it's going to increase because New York State is now allowing it online, like we have here in Michigan. Here are the sports betting handles by states. I'm not going to read them all, but I'll certainly tell you where Michigan stands here. New Jersey is the biggest, $21 billion. Nevada, second at $19.8 billion. Then comes Pennsylvania, Illinois, Indiana, Colorado. So Michigan is seventh. And Michigan was $3.6 billion in the list. I have said for years, and I will continue to say, how much is too much? But I don't know that there's an answer anymore. I mean, it is just unbelievable. I mean, how many billions of dollars is this total? It's huge. It's absolutely huge. And, I've said that, okay, how much is too much? Well, the market will determine that. Apparently, the market hasn't. It is just insane. Now, I'm not a prude. I don't tell people whether they should or shouldn't gamble. I don't purposely go to casinos. But when I am at one, I'll plunk down some money and gamble a little bit. I do not do it online. I'm not a sports bet type person because I don't know enough to make the decisions. It would simply be guesses. If I'm going to do that, some people will say, well, you put your money in a slot machine. That's nothing but a guess. That's true. But I'm not a sports betting person. I play slot machines on my cell phone, but they're the free games. They're not the pay games. So I'm not a prude. I'm not telling anybody they shouldn't gamble. I just don't understand where all that money's coming from. Comes out of the market, obviously. If you have $50 in your pocket and you could go to a retailer and buy a product, or you could go to a casino and spend it. If you choose to go to the casino, then the retailer doesn't get it, obviously. So it comes out of the market. And I'm also smart enough to know that a lot of people have a lot more money than we think they have. Years ago, when we owned our tour business and we ran shuttle service from this region to Greektown Casino, we initially met with the manager of slot operations who ran the bus program. And he told us by percentages how many people on the bus didn't belong there, how many people were spending gray money, and the majority of them had a lot more money than you think they had. Exact words is what he said. So the money's out there. But billions and billions of dollars. Wow. It didn't shock me when I read the headline because I kind of instinctively knew that was happening. But it just drives it home. All right, we're going to close out this hour, and then we will be back after the news with Focus.
RocketGrabPlus.com.
This week's deal on RocketGrabPlus.com is for Wonder Burger. You are going to get a $13 gift certificate for only $6.50, half off. Wonder Burger is the perfect spot to get burgers on the go, and they grind their own beef daily. They're also the official burger of CMU football. You can also check them out on Facebook for their daily menu items and their location schedule. Head to RocketGrabPlus.com right now to snag your...
Exergen would like you to know about an important study just released by the FDA. It confirms what the medical community has known all along. Non-contact thermometers are not accurate. The study also reports that they fail to meet FDA requirements for accuracy in labeling. We can't afford to tolerate the rampant false temperature readings from non-contact thermometers. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. You need Exergen thermometers because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly... Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you 24/7, with supplies and solutions for every industry, and access to product specialists ready to help. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Your Saginaw Spirit back in action Thursday night at the Dow as they battle the Western Conference leading London Knights. Former Spirit captain Cameron Faber returns to do battle with his former teammates. Great seats are available. Be a part of all the action and fun as your Saginaw Spirit Thursday night at the Dow. For ticket info, call 989-497-7747 or go to SaginawSpirit.com. Game on!
Though many people are doing okay today, there are still many people experiencing difficulties in the community. Here is a reminder for you of a free community resource you are encouraged to use if you find yourself needing extra support. 211 is a public service number for all non-emergency needs. You can call it anytime, any day, and an agent will connect you with whatever it is you're looking for: food, financial assistance, housing support, clothing, transportation. Just dial 211 or text your zip code to 898-211 to get connected. Looking for a COVID testing location? Need help paying your bills? Is food in short supply for your family? Dial 211 to talk to a compassionate, highly trained agent who is ready to connect you with local resources. It is a free and confidential service to help you overcome obstacles of all sizes. This message is brought to you by the Saginaw Community Foundation, because it takes a village for good forever.
All right, that'll do it for the Art Lewis Show for today. Focus coming along after the news from CBS and the local report. And then we'll be back with Focus right after that here on WSGW.
From the Premier Kitchen and Bath Gallery Showroom and Design Center Studio. WSGW, Saginaw, Bay City, Midland, WSGW FM, Carlton.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by the Exergen Temporal Scanner.
I'm Steve Kathan. It's a winter of discontent in the nation's supermarkets.
Even the water, the milk, there's nothing that we could buy that's actually affordable for us now.
Higher prices, all spelled out this morning in the government's December inflation report. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
Inflation is running at the hottest pace since June of 1982. The government reported that CPI increased by 7% from a year ago. Even when taking out food and energy, the core rate was up 5.5%.
With COVID cases at pandemic highs, the Biden administration is vowing to get millions of rapid and PCR virus tests into the nation's schools. Education Secretary Miguel Cardona on CBS Mornings.
There's going to be higher production of tests. We're prioritizing. Recognize that schools are the hubs of the community. You're going to see distribution of tests as early as next week to make sure that our schools can stay open.
A federal judge in New York has rejected an effort by Britain's Prince Andrew to dismiss a lawsuit from an American woman that accuses him of sexually abusing her when she was 17. And on another matter today in Britain, an apology from the Prime Minister.
Boris Johnson finally admitting that, yes, he did attend a party on the grounds of his prime ministerial residence when all such gatherings were banned. But
I thought it was a work event, and his defence that he didn't realise he was at a party.
Opposition Labour leader Keir Starmer
It's so ridiculous that it's actually offensive.
Johnson resisting calls to resign, some of them from within his own Conservative Party. Vicky Barker, CBS News, London.
The U.S. and NATO allies met with top Russian envoys today. Deputy Secretary of State Wendy Sherman says the attempt to stop Ukraine from possibly becoming an alliance member.
Together, the United States and our NATO allies made clear we will not shut on NATO's open door policy.
NATO's Secretary General says significant differences remain. From Hollywood, award nominations from the Screen Actors Guild.
You got a sore gut? No. You act like it pains you to hit two words together.
Power of the Dog and House of Gucci are tied with 3 each. Will Smith, Denzel Washington, Lady Gaga, and Olivia Colman are among actors with individual nominations. The awards are set for February 27th, a month before the Oscars. The Motion Picture Academy, meantime, says it does plan to have a host this year for the Oscars. Wall Street, right now the Dow is up 65 points. This is CBS News.
Fever is the #1 COVID symptom, so be safe with an accurate Exergen is proven accurate in more than 100 studies. Learn more at Exergen.com.
All right, listen up, people. Sean Avery here. If you enjoy alcohol, chances are at some point you've been hungover, torn up, in the Hurt Locker. Well, here's a little secret. Goodies hangover powder relieves pain fast, helps wake you up, and it tastes good. I'm not kidding around. You got a case of ginfluenza, bourbonitis? No problem. Get Goodies hangover powder. Real medicine for real hangovers.
Goodies hangover, aspirin and caffeine in powder form. Place on tongue and take with water. Hangover responsibly. Find it at Walmart.
Exergen would like you to know about an important new study by the FDA. It confirms what the medical community has always known. Non-contact thermometers are not accurate, and they fail to meet FDA requirements for accuracy in labeling. With new strains of COVID on the rise, we can't afford to tolerate rampant false temperature readings from non-contact thermometers. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. You need Exergen thermometers because they are accurate. Clinical studies. Be sure. Be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
RocketGrabPlus.com. The days of paying full price are over. And at RocketGrabPlus.com, we are here always giving you the deals that you need. You can get tons of half-off deals going on right now from Uplift Creative Center, Joyce's Purple Palettes, Woody's Hot Dogs, King's Fish and More, and the Hamptons Boutique Tanning and Salon. Half off? Yeah, it's true. And it's all at RocketGrabPlus.com.
RocketGrabPlus.com. When you have a gambling problem, you have a money problem. 10 gallons of gas, cash or credit. Yesterday's lottery ticket won't fill up your tank because when you're feeding a gambling problem,
okay, your grocery total is $98.
It's difficult putting food on the table, paying your bills, and keeping your life together. If you or a loved one is struggling with gambling, get free confidential help at Michigan Gambling. Sponsored by the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services and the Michigan Association of Broadcasters.
Live from the 100.5 and 790 newsroom, this is WSGW News.
It's 33 degrees at 11:05. Good morning, I'm Lynn Williams. The 19-year-old accused of trying to stab a younger relative in a Bay City Central bathroom has been released from jail without any charges. WSGW's Rick Antonio has more.
A fight between the second cousins left a 16-year-old with slash wounds on the face and other wounds caused while trying to... Staff broke up the fight, and an in-building resource officer took the 19-year-old into custody without further incident. He was later lodged in the Bay County Jail, but was released without charges the following day on instruction from the Bay County Prosecutor's Office. The incident is still under investigation and is said to have stemmed from a prior issue between the two. Superintendent Dr. Stephen Bigelow says while the county may not be seeking further disciplinary action, the district will be. Rick Antonio, News Radio 100.5 and 790.
Auto crash survivors, their family members, and advocates will gather at the state capitol today to demonstrate the need for a legislative fix to the auto no-fault reform. Maureen Howell of We Can't Wait, that is, 5-year-old son had catastrophic injuries from an auto accident when he was 18 and says none of his care would have happened with auto no-fault.
Do a fix. There have been multiple laws that have been written in an attempt to fix this, and the majority of our legislature could vote it in, but it can't get past the Senate because Senator Shirkey is blocking it.
Howell says they're not going away until something is done to fix the injustices caused by the reform. An elected official in order to write an essay about bullying. Here's more from Jim Matthews at the Michigan News Network.
Matthew Smith is the chair of the Genesee County Republican Party and a school board member in Davison. He pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor last November, admitting to making a harassing phone call to a Democratic official in the Upper Peninsula who was being challenged by his buddy in the 2020 election. But Smith denies he threatened to poison Jennifer Kelly's dogs. Kelly is the elected clerk in Houghton County. The controversy has led to a recall effort against Smith, who was ordered to perform 240 hours of community service and pay a $650 fine, in addition to composing an essay about the effects of bullying. His record eventually will be scrubbed clean if he... Matthews, Michigan News Network.
WSTW News Time, 11:07.
It could be the best years of your life. In retirement, you'll finally get to do what you want to do, but you have to plan for it. Start by tuning into Mindy and Nolan McIntosh of McIntosh & Associates every Sunday at noon for Wealth Michigan with the McIntoshes. Make retirement the best time of your life. Tune in Sundays at noon for Wealth Michigan with the McIntoshes. Firm offers insurance services. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Do you promise to love, honor, and cherish, forsaking all others?
You.
And now, by the power vested in me, I now pronounce you roommates. Go forth.
That's not the vow you took. But if struggles with CPAP have you and your spouse sleeping in separate rooms, it might be time to look into Inspire. Inspire works inside the body with just a click of a remote. That's right, just a button. No mask, no hose, just sleep. Inspire. Sleep apnea innovation.
Talk to your doctor to see if Inspire is right for you. Review important safety information at inspiresleep.com.
WSTW News Time, 11:08. Bay City Public Schools Board of Education held a session Monday where the current officers were reelected to their positions. Board President Gene Rademacher will continue, as will Vice President David Welch, Secretary Carrie Cepeda, and Treasurer Matthew Fallon. Existing committee memberships will remain as well. The board will also meet at Handy Middle School for all meetings instead of rotating schools. Michigan Medicine is putting a no-visitor policy in place at its adult hospitals as COVID-19 has stretched resources to the limit. Here's more from Dr. Deanna Lights. We'll bring you that story in an upcoming newscast. The father of former Michigan House Speaker Lee Chatfield is taking to the pulpit to rail against the press and an unnamed, telling congregants the truth will prevail.
You can't believe everything you read in the newspaper, on the internet, or whatever. And you should know what I'm talking about. You cannot believe that. Truth will come forward. Truth will come forward. Eventually, truth will come forward.
While never naming his son, Rusty Chatfield told congregants at the Northern Michigan Baptist Bible Church that we are all sinners. Lee Chatfield has been accused by his now sister-in-law of sexually assaulting her repeatedly for more than a decade, beginning in 2010 when she was a teenager. He denies the allegations. When you see news happening, call the WSTW newsroom 752-0790. It's 11:10. I'm Ann Williams.
Here's your WSGW Weatherology Forecast.
We'll see a few scattered snow showers possible late today. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies with temperatures holding rather steady. West winds at 5 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 20. Tonight, a chance for some snow showers here. Cloudy skies, a low near 23. By Thursday, mostly cloudy, high of 30 degrees. Then by Friday, cloudy skies, a high around 19. Saturday, partial sunshine develops. We'll see high around 17. Then by Sunday, mostly sunny, high around 24. Monday, high around 29, and Tuesday, partial sunshine, high of 28. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with the WSGW Weatherology Forecast. Currently, it's 33.
Now, it's time to focus as WSGW presents the people, the places, the businesses, the culture, the area events and activities, all put into focus on 100.5 and 790 News Radio WSGW and online WSGW.com.
And welcome back. Good morning. Welcome back to another edition of Focus here on WSGW. I'm Art Lewis from my Saginaw Spirit Home Studio. And Focus, of course, sponsored by Roof Max, the safe, proven, and affordable alternative to expensive asphalt shingle roof replacement. Find out about Roof Max online at roofmax.com or call Ben at 989-859-6751. That's Roof Max with 2 X's. And today we are going to focus on McLaren Bay Region and OBGYN services with Dr. Vanessa Rondinelli. Dr. Rondinelli, good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thanks for joining us. I see we want to talk a bit about cervical cancer today. And I guess my first question before we get into some of the details, how prevalent is it?
Cervical cancer is prevalent in the U.S., but now because of the screening that we've implemented over the past several years, the incidence is going down and we're able to detect cervical cancer at much earlier stages. So luckily in the U.S., it's not as common as it is in other underdeveloped countries of the world, but it is still the third most common leading cause of gynecological cancer that we have in the U.S.
All right, so let's talk about it specifically. What is it? When we talk about cervical cancer, what are we talking about?
Good question. So cervical cancer, it starts in the cells that line the cervix. The cervix is actually between the uterus and the vagina. And when cancer starts, cells of the body, they begin to grow out of control. So it's very hard to be able to notice it when it happens. It's not like it's on your skin. You can just see it and diagnose it. It's a tricky thing to diagnose.
Is it one of those things where the symptoms come along after it's well developed, which makes it harder to treat?
Exactly. And that's why we really push as gynecologists, as primary care physicians, to get women to have their screening done, the routine screening done, so that we can detect it in the early stages, because unfortunately there aren't symptoms of the early stages. There's some symptoms in the later stages that can occur, but we want to get it really early so we can get it treated.
So what, obviously from what you're saying, a woman should have screening, but
yeah,
for a woman who has not, what would be symptoms?
So if you haven't had Pap smear in a while and you're worried about advanced stage cervical cancer, some of the following symptoms might alert you to talk to your doctor. So any unexplained persistent pelvic pain, back pain, lower back pain, any vaginal bleeding outside of the usual monthly period, any bleeding after intercourse, between periods, and any bleeding after menopause should always be evaluated. Even any increased vaginal discharge that looks abnormal to the particular woman should be investigated by their doctor.
And let's talk, because we have to, about treatment. So if a woman presents with cervical cancer, are there different treatments for different stages?
Absolutely. So in the very early stages of cervical cancer, and even before we even have cervical cancer, there's changes that we see in the cells that can be identified on a pap smear, and also with HPV or human papilloma virus testing. If we detect very early stages, us as gynecologists can do simple procedures in the office where we can remove part of the cervix to get rid of those abnormal cells that could potentially grow into cancer. Once the diagnosis of cancer is made, then we would refer the patient to a specialist in cancer where they would talk to them about different options depending on what stage they're at. So it can range anywhere from radiation, chemotherapy, or radical surgery.
All right, hang on, Doc. I got to take a break, and we will be back. We're talking to Dr. Vanessa Rondinelli at McLaren Bay Region about cervical cancer, and we will chat more with her when we return. Let me ask you how you slept last night, because, you know, in today's world where we're asked to do more for less, you really need your sleep, and you need good sleep. And when you go to bed, theoretically, you're supposed to spend about a third of your life there. You really should get quality sleep, and you can get it with a quality mattress from Sanitary Mattress. Now, you can visit all the so-called sleep stores, or you can rest assured the mattress you are using is manufactured right here in the Great Lakes Bay region to your specifications. Your dollars are spent and they stay right here in our local economy. Your time in bed may be cut short by today's demanding world, but don't be fooled. You can still get a quality good night's sleep on a Sanitary Mattress, and they feature 1 hour window delivery of your mattress to your home, so you don't have to wait around all day for them. By the way, if you have an RV or a boat, Sanitary Mattress will custom make a mattress to your exact specifications, something the big box stores can't do. Visit the Sanitary Mattress factory and showroom, serving this area since 1935. Set your GPS to 5343 Janes Road in Saginaw, just east of the Harry Brown Airport. Visit them on the web at sanitarymattress.com or call them at 989-753-1757. Sanitary Mattress.
Deep breaths. Mi's virtual meditation studio has never been busier.
Imagine not working.
They need a remote assistant to realign their scheduling.
Blank calendar. Sorry, back to your breath.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Make calls, schedule virtual interviews, and talk to candidates right from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
If you've ever ordered food for work, you understand. It's different. There's just so much more at stake. Whether it's a meeting, a client call, or lunch with the office that has to time, food for work has to work. That's why there's Easy Cater. Food that's on time and as ordered from over 82,000 restaurants. And if there's a problem, rare, you can reach someone in seconds.
Thank you for calling Easy Cater.
Some food just doesn't work at work, but Easy Cater just does. Order 24/7 at easycater.com.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
The WSGW Morning Team Show.
So the WSW Online vaccine requirement. The U.S. Supreme Court is hearing the oral arguments regarding the authority of President Biden's administration to require what essentially would be more than 80 million workers having to get vaccinated to protect against COVID. If it's upheld, workers for companies with more than 100 employees would have to be vaccinated or test every week. There could be some exceptions. Supporters say this requirement is issued by the Department of Labor's Occupational Safety and Health Administration and is well within the boundaries of workplace safety. Opponents say it's an overstep of power that could lead to many companies losing workers. Poll question: how should the United States Supreme Court rule in this case of the workers and vaccines? Would you say yes, it should be the requirement for vaccinations or a weekly test? No, it should not be the requirement for the vaccinations or weekly tests, or you're not sure. Your chance to be a Supreme Court justice. You go to WSGW.com, scroll down the online page, and find the poll box there.
The Morning Team Show, weekdays 5:30 to 9 on WSGW. Mi Gente on Air.
How do you celebrate Cinco de Mayo during a pandemic? It can be hard. I'm your host, Larry Rodarte, and my show this week tackles this challenge. Cinco de Mayo, yay or nay? Join us.
Mi Gente on Air, Sunday evenings at 8 on WSGW and online WSGW.com.
All right, we're back with you here on Focus, and today we're focusing on McLaren Bay Region and OBGYN services, particularly as it has to do with cervical cancer. Talking to Dr. Vanessa Rondinelli, who's an MD. Hi again. So on other cancers, we often hear about risk factors and, what you can do to mitigate the possibility of getting cancer. Are there risk factors associated with cervical cancer?
Yes, another good question. And there's a lot of known factors that increase your risk of cervical cancer. One common misconception, before I forget, is that cervical cancer is genetic, or it's passed down by family members, or if you have a sister or mother with cervical cancer, you're more likely to get it, and that's not true. It's not a familial, it's not a genetic disorder. There's the risk factors in your lifestyle that increase your risk of cervical cancer. So some of them would be multiple sexual partners, having sex at a very early age, having the HPV or the human papillomavirus infection, multiple births, so giving birth to many kids, over 5 kids. Smoking is a very important risk factor that I wanted to mention today. It's a factor, a lifestyle factor that we can modify. Smoking is tough. It's a very tough habit to kick, but it does significantly increase your risk of cervical cancer. And if you can quit smoking, that would be very helpful to preventing cervical cancer.
Smoking comes up every time we talk about cancer and any kind of cancer and other ailments. Yeah. What is there in smoking that causes it? Do we know?
I believe there have been some studies that look at why smoking makes women more of a risk, gives a higher risk factor for cervical cancer, and I believe it's the fact that it affects the immune system. And so we know that HPV, the virus that lives in the cervix, increases your risk of cervical cancer, especially if you have any immunocompromised disorder. So it's with people who are on chronic steroid use or immunodepressants, and people who smoke also have a weaker immune system as well, which it makes it tougher for them to fight that HPV virus in the cervix.
Do we have a preventative? In other words, is there a vaccine?
Yes, and it's interesting because this vaccine is the only one that I believe is out there that prevents cancer, and it prevents it very well. So part of my job is trying to get women to learn about this vaccine and try to get it into people at a very young age, because you want to give it to people before they start, or give it to women and boys before they start intercourse, because that's the time when we spread HPV. So we can start vaccinating using the Gardasil vaccine as early as 9 years old. Our goal is to try to get it in between 11 and 12 years old, but it's actually approved to be administered up to 45 years old now. So anyone in that age group between 9 and 45 should be talking to their doctors about whether or not they're eligible to receive that Gardasil vaccine to prevent cervical cancer.
You said something that I sat straight up. We're talking about cervical cancer, but you said getting boys vaccinated. Please explain.
Yeah. Yes, so boys can harbor the HPV virus and spread it to girls, particularly with unprotected sex. And we try our best to raise good kids that are not having sex at too early of an age, but we as parents don't really know when that's going to occur. And so that's why the goal of having children vaccinated at an earlier age is to get them vaccinated before the onset of intercourse, at which time they have the potential to spread between themselves.
So last question, how often does a person need to get screened?
That's That question is good because it's changed over the years. And for women who haven't had a pap smear in the past 10 years, I think they'd be very, very happy to know that the pap smear guidelines have changed. So we start pap smears at 21 years old now. We don't start them less than 21 years old unless someone has a history of HIV or some kind of severe immunocompromised state. After 21 years old, the American recommends cervical cancer screening with the HPV testing every 5 years, or HPV and pap smear every 5 years. But depending on what kind of pap smear your doctor does, it may be anywhere between 3 to 5 years. But it is not done yearly anymore unless there's any findings of an abnormal pap smear.
How can someone get a hold of you for more information?
I'd be happy to see everybody, or to all the women who are listening here. I am located at Women's Care Bay City. We are a federally qualified health center, and we try to see everyone. Be happy to see anyone for their annual screening visit, and we can discuss pap smears and Gardasil and cervical cancer at any time.
All right. Well, Dr. Rondinelli, thank you much for spending some time with us this morning. We appreciate it. Good information.
Thank you, Art. Thank you. Have a great day. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Bye-bye now. Dr. Vanessa Rondinelli, McLaren Bay Region on Focus, and we'll be back to close out.
While you're comfortable inside your home or business, the weather takes a toll on your roof. Wind, rain, hail, UV rays, and the heat of the sun cause premature failure of your shingles.